Welcome to Cobra Kai Canada. I'm your host, Alir, and today I got Levi from Karate Kid FANATCS joining me. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having me.
For sure, for sure. So today we got big news. The Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1 trailer dropped by Netflix. So we're going to do a fun breakdown. And Levi, so how many times did you watch the trailer since it dropped?
Maybe 2 or 3. I haven't really had a whole lot of time yet, but probably 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because my Instagram inbox just blew up today, and I'm just like you. I only probably got to watch it 2-3 times. So,
yeah, for sure.
So people that are tuning in, bear with us. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys watched it a couple hundred times, and they probably broke down just as more than we did. So let's pull up the trailer. And all right, so what we'll do is we're going to stop play, and just kind of analyze a few things that, most of it as much as we can. And so from what I watched the first, 2-3 times of it, they didn't reveal too much, but I think it was enough to satisfy people. What do you think, Levi?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just one of those things. They're not doing just one release, with the 3-part release, they can't really reveal too much because this is really only for the first 5 of 15 episodes. So
exactly. And as we go, we're going to give you guys a couple, theories, predictions and stuff. You guys may agree, you may disagree, which is fine. This is all totally for fun. So if anything, comment down below. So let's get started here on the trailer. So just before I press play, the trailer starts from the ending of season 5. As you know, Terry Silver gets arrested. You can see here like the fire trucks and whatnot. So let me play it here.
We've been through a lot to get to this point, but now we're finally on the same page.
Okay, so this right here, Levi, they obviously threw the Cobra Kai logo in the garbage, meaning that the whole dojos are kind of disbanded. And what's your kind of intake on that?
Well, kind of shows the end, and that's just, man, that's a lot of money Terry Silver had invested in all those locations and all that stuff. So that's
for sure.
It looks like it really is the end, though, as you get later into the trailer. But
see, like, this is interesting because, like, they are, throwing the Cobra Kai logo dojo in the dumpster, as we can see here by these two guys. But, when Terry Silver was in charge, he was like expanding throughout the whole valley, right? So there's a bunch of Cobra Kai dojos. And my question is going to be like Terry Silver, he's a powerful guy. He's got a lot of political influence and he's obviously got a lot of money. But is Cobra Kai actually terminated is my question.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's where I really want to question things. But let me click play here.
We may have settled things in the valley.
Okay, so you see Dimitri here and Hawk, and they're entering school from the front entrance here. And why do you think all these kids are kind of like, hey, how's it going? Kind of like hugging each other thing.
You got like Dimitri talking to Edwin, and Edwin's always been a Cobra Kai and all this, and Dimitri it's just funny how they can sometimes, I guess, just make up so easily. But
yeah, it's funny because like if you look closely here, like you mentioned, Edwin, former Cobra Kai student, you could see Phoebe French, who plays Charlotte, the blonde right there. Gianna, you can see her back there, who plays Lindsay. Chance Dollard, another former Cobra Kai student. He plays as Rob. So you see a lot of the former Cobra Kai students now kind of like, cool. Making up, all friends now. So that's going to be interesting to see how long that will last, if it does last.
Yeah.
So let me continue here.
But now we have to.
Okay, so what's your intake on this? You see, obviously, Miguel, and you see here Mary Mauser, Samantha, Tanner, and Peyton list here, obviously. And what's your intake on this? All 4 of them all together?
Just for me personally, I thought they would be cordial, but I just wasn't really. I don't think expecting them to be, walking together and all all of a sudden, because I mean they're trying to kill each other in a fight. Just at Cobra Kai time, like what 2-3 years ago. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny because now you got like two soon-to-be stepbrothers, right?
Mhm.
And you got two former foes here as well, with Tory and Samantha, and they're all walking in the hall in high school. So let's continue here.
Be ready for whatever the world throws at us.
Okay, this is interesting. So now we got the newspaper here. It's called the Valley Register. So it says martial arts mayhem, and I'll try to read the best I can out of this. I know a lot of people were trying to read it and what it says, so let me try to read this. It says martial arts mayhem, major karate scandal at local dojo. So John Kreese and Terry Silver had been best friends and business partners since their days in the military. They opened a dojo together in the San Fernando Valley, Los Angeles, California, called Cobra Kai. They trained students in karate and built the business over the years, but eventually cracks in their friendship began to show. The two partners had a professional falling out over business matters, and it seemed that the only thing that they could agree on was that they each had their own vision for the dojo. They disagreed how to train the students on how to market the dojo and how to build the business. So let me try to get this one because it's very blurry. Unfortunately, their argument spilled over into their students. The students began to take sides, and the dojo became a battleground between the two different styles of karate. They began attacking one another, and it caused general mayhem in the San Fernando Valley. John Kreese and Terry Silver had been best friends, Now it repeats the same thing over and over.
Yeah. I noticed that when I was watching. It literally says the same here as there. Yeah.
So I hope that clarifies what it says on the paper for people that were trying to make it out and read it out and stuff like that. So
You can
interesting.
You can definitely tell Silver's pretty beat up in that mugshot.
Yeah, he's got like a black eye there and cutting his front nose there. So, and you can see John Kreese as well. So that's what it says on the Valley Register morning edition. So I hope that clarified that for everybody. So let's move along here. All right, so you recognize any of these students here? Like I said, it's mostly a lot of the former Cobra Kai students that I just mentioned earlier. That was in the beginning clip there when when Hawk and Dimitri entered.
A lot of the extras are really the same too. I mean, there's a couple maybe new extra.
You always have that random new face there, right?
Good amount of them are pretty much the same.
Yeah, so they're all bowing down to Johnny. You can see his head there, and I don't know who that is. Yeah, I can imagine. So let's keep going here.
Taikai.
Okay, let me go back here. There is something. I think you saw what I saw.
Yep.
Okay, so right there is the myth, the legend, Mike fucking Barnes. There he is. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about. We're going to stop here because as everybody knows that's been following me knows I'm a huge Mike Barnes fan.
Well, as you can see up there.
Yeah. And your thoughts on Mike Barnes joining Miyagi-Do, training the students for Sekai Taikai?
Well, I definitely knew last season, the end, I knew that definitely wasn't going to be the end for him just in the little bit that he was shown. Mm-hmm. Even when the furniture store before he did show up towards the end, I knew there was definitely going to be something more. Mm-hmm. So I did. I do think it's kind of weird. It's like, how does he still have all these? I wonder if he still was training, even though he didn't talk about it, because he still has quite a few degrees on his belt. And that other picture was shown earlier today. Mm-hmm. You can't tell there, but in that other photo.
Let me bring that other picture up that you're talking about, so the fans know what we're talking about here. So. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, good God, what is he, like a 10th degree black belt?
Yeah, this is honestly a kick-ass, karate gi. It's red and black. I wonder what the red and black actually represents. That's what I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
You could see his name labeled there. It says Mike Barnes.
That's a badass belt, dude.
Yeah, and he's got a couple red stripes. So, as many of you know, just to clarify, he's not an international champion. He's a national champion.
Yeah.
So there's no confusion there.
Yeah,
so,
he was just like a, it was like Karate's Bad Boy tournament. He was popular in the U.S., but I don't believe he was ever, like world champion. He was just big on the tournament circuit in the U.S.
Correct. Yeah. So that's the difference between international and national, so people don't get confused. And yeah, he was nicknamed the Tournament Terror, Karate's Bad Boy. He had those two nicknames. And here's my question to you, Levi. Now, do you remember in season 5? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Mike Barnes say that he was kind of disqualified from competing in karate or in karate in general?
Yeah, when him and Daniel were talking, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, after that tournament, he hit rock bottom, and he got banned from karate after the events of the '85 All Valley. So yeah.
So now, as we know, Mike Barnes was only in 2 episodes in season 5, which actually pissed me off. But from what I known, it was from what he told me, it was because of scheduling conflicts. He was filming the one soap opera show he's on, Bold and the Beautiful, so he couldn't get more screen time. So he clarified that for me because I was totally pissed off, right? So he kind of eased my mind there. But still, with the 2 episodes that they used him, which was awesome for me because, like I said, I'm a big Mike Barnes fan. As you know, he took Terry Silver's Rembrandt in the end, and a lot of people were just kind of like, what's next for Mike Barnes? Is he going to be in season 6? Obviously, as you can see here, he is. He's with Miyagi-Do and teaching the students for the Sekai Taikai, preparing them for the Sekai Taikai. Now, here's my issue with this, and this is where I'm going to get a lot of hate. I hope this is just, I hope Mike Barnes' character gets a plot twist. What I mean by that is this is a little too predictable for me because I still think Mike Barnes has a stake in the Cobra Kai dojo, 50% of it. I still think of it. I'm a high believer of it. Now, him joining Miyagi-Do is something where I see a negative for the show. Why? Because is every character on the show going to join Miyagi-Do and somehow, what's the word I'm looking for?
Redeemed?
That's it. Yeah. Now, is every character on the show going to go on Miyagi-Do and be redeemed as Miyagi-Do is the only dojo in town? What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you agree with me or disagree?
It's a 50-50 thing because I think with Mike Barnes, it's a little bit of a different situation because Terry Silver did screw him over now and then, so I can see his reason for wanting to fight against him. Well, it's not really as much Terry Silver, but at this point that we know of, but maybe he's just trying to, because he lost his store, so he needs something to do with his life. So
sure. We still don't know who really burnt his furniture store. It could be Terry Silver. It could not be. Most likely it is him. That's where the story's turning. Now, here's another interesting point that a lot of people forget. Sure, he may have beef with Terry Silver, but does he have beef with John Kreese is my question.
See, that's a weird one because, he really wasn't in that of part 3 because of scheduling conflict. I think he had another show going on. So that movie, Terry Silver wasn't even supposed to be a thing. So I don't really see why he would have too much, but he could have.
Yeah. Do you believe that Mike Barnes still has a 50% stake on the Cobra Kai dojo still?
I don't think so because if you remember, Daniel's like, can you find that letter from the lawyer? And he said he couldn't find it. So there's no way for him to say that he does or doesn't.
But doesn't that kind of leave it open where he actually still might have it? Because a guy just anybody. I actually interviewed him and I actually asked Mike Barnes, was it based on winning the tournament? Was it predicated on winning? And Mike Barnes said that's a good question. He didn't say yes or no. Sean Kanan, sorry, when I interviewed him.
To me, from the implications of it, is I think he said, come down here and I beat this Larusso kid, I'll get whatever percent. And because it was lower than 50 at the beginning. Yeah. But they could twist it any way they want, but I think I think that kind of storyline, that ship's, for me personally, I believe that's kind of settled at this point. I feel it would have already been kind of went over if so.
Yeah, so you pretty much think that Mike Barnes, he's gonna teach the students and kind of that's his storyline and that's it, eh?
I could be completely wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, he has the same gi as everybody else on, but who knows?
Right. So I'm gonna hope and pray that Mike Barnes is just playing everybody. I want a big plot twist. I think Mike Barnes could be the future of the series if they do decide to do a spinoff, if they know how to use him, because he's young, he's healthy, he knows martial arts. And I see a lot of future with Mike Barnes than I do with most of the other characters. Now, you could argue, obviously, the younger students, obviously, there could be a lot of spinoffs with them. I'm totally not saying that. But I think if they want to go farther with this and continue, Mike Barnes should be in the picture and he should have a bigger role.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's lots to talk about with
there's
a lot. So yeah, like I said, people that are tuning in, you may agree, disagree, which is fine, right? So we all have.
So
I'll admit this to everybody. I'm biased when it comes to Mike Barnes because, like I said earlier, I'm a huge Mike Barnes fan. So I only want the best and biggest stuff.
Sure.
So, yeah, and I'm Team Cobra Kai. So as you guys can tell, I'm not too crazy.
For me, it's always when you talk about more of the OG like movies.
Sure.
I just have a deeper connection with those characters rather than the newer ones. I mean, the newer ones are great. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But you got your, Daniels and Johnnies and Silvers and Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just.
Yeah. For sure. There we go. All right. So we're back here. Let's continue.
Taikai tournament is coming. Now is not the time to puss out.
All right, so we see Tory and Samantha duking it out here.
Fight the best in the world.
Your intake on this?
You can still see that fire in Sam's eyes for sure. Same with Tory. They still got hatred. Like it doesn't just. You can still see.
Absolutely. Now I'm gonna get back to Samantha and Tory. Let me just play this. I have a little thoughts on that. It's just.
Do I want to know what that's for?
Training, Rocky IV style. Gonna chop down a tree, carry it to the snow.
Okay. So we knew the big three were gonna add Rocky references. As I've done tons of theory videos on how they're gonna follow the footsteps of the Rocky franchise, and I'm 100% right, and this is what they're continuing to do. Now, as you know, let me go back here. There's any Rocky fans out there that seen Rocky Part 4, he was referencing that to when Sylvester Stallone was in the old Soviet Union. Actually, it wasn't Soviet. Well, it was Soviet Union in the film, but they actually filmed that up here in Canada to make it like the Soviet Union.
The snow.
Now, what could possibly go wrong?
Okay, this is a good spot. So now you can see here Chozen wanting to chop this piece of wood. Now, this is a very interesting scene, and I will tell you why. Anybody that actually watched the Karate Kid films knows in Part 2 that Sato used to do this.
I made the side-by-side picture of that and posted that when I seen it. Yep.
Yes. I actually might have a clip of that so I can show you guys that they were referencing that scene from Karate Kid Part 2. Let's pull that up here.
That same wood we find together on beach that time?
Sam, what you want?
Yeah. That's one of those, like, I picked that up first watch. I was like, yeah, I'm at the make, like, people were messing, man, I didn't know. So, yeah, that's just one of those, the original movie stuff I can always catch.
Absolutely. Same here. I've watched Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3 countless times. And just like you, I picked that up so fast when I saw Chozen chopping on the wood. I was like, okay. I was like, I know where they got that from, right?
Yep.
So
100%.
Yeah.
He actually broke it, though. Sato could never break it.
Yeah. Sato,
I think Sato was more of like a stronger, like it was like tree wood, though, more than just like a block. But
Yeah, like as Mr. Miyagi said on the clip, he's like, "Is that the wood piece of wood we
From
found
years
on the,
ago, yeah,
on the beach?" So I was like,
yeah, sure.
"Yeah, it's funny, man." So yeah, let's continue here.
No matter what life throws at you,
Good thankful.
you gotta stay on your feet.
Okay. I gotta stop that part because Johnny's got these weird like techniques, man. He's got this
Bringing back the pitching machine from season 1.
yeah, that like the ball thrower, and he's putting Coors beer bottles in there.
Yeah.
Oh man, you gotta love those methods, man. They're pretty funny. Okay, so let's continue here.
Cut the crap out.
Our strength is we teach both styles equally. Don't jeopardize that balance, man.
Okay, I'm gonna stop here just for a quick. I see Dimitri having a huge role in season 6. I don't know why, but I just think that you're gonna see. Yeah, you see him in like more scenes now, and he's slowly progressing into an awesome fighter, right? He went from this like nerdy kind of shy dude into like this. You could see him gaining confidence, is what I'm trying to get at. So
yeah, him and Hulk were both like that in season 1. They both started as kind of minor characters, and ever since they both just built up. And
yes, and you can see like Dimitri. Well, look at Dimitri's face here, right? Talk about Eye of the Tiger. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Let's continue here.
Since when do I run shit by you?
Okay. I gotta stop this here. So now this is funny because as soon as I saw this trailer, the first thing I did is when I saw this scene was I texted John Hurwitz and I said, "This has got to be a reference to me." He got this Canadian T-shirt on with the flag and a toque on, and Tory's kicking it, and he didn't say yes or no. He just put LOL.
Yeah.
And good enough for me. So I was just laughing. I was like, "Is this a fucking reference to me, man?" I was just.
Hey, just make it one.
Well, okay. Now, anybody that's seen my interview with the Big Three, I asked Hayden Schlossberg. I said, "Will there be a contingent of Canadian fighters?" And let me see if I can find that clip of what he said. 1 second here. And this is where I think this kind of all relates to that interview and me. Hold on here. Okay, so here is, I found the clip of my interview when I asked Hayden if there will be a contingent of Canadian fighters. So it's funny because as they were filming season 6, I found out that through cab castings, which casts a lot of the actors and actresses on Cobra Kai, I didn't see Team Canada on the list because they had, I believe it was 12 countries or more. So I didn't see Canada, and I was kind of like, come on, man. So hold on here. So let's see if this all relates to this. So I'll click this one clip here. Just because you, Hayden, brought up World Tournament, obviously the Sekai Taikai, that will be one of the major themes going into season 6, and I'm definitely, that's what I'm really looking forward to. And I hate to ask you guys this, but I gotta ask, and I'm just hoping, will we finally see a contingent of Canadian fighters? I gotta ask, man, because we got Koreans in there, we got Japanese, we got Americans. So I'm like, hey, we want a piece of Cobra Kai. Here's Hayden's response. So
we'll have to see. It's there's not this is the best of the best of the best. So if they didn't make it, it's because it's tough to get in. But there will be multiple countries represented.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what he said on that. So that's where I think the whole reference came, just to make me happy. So. All right, so continuing. So I don't know. I'm just having a little fun with that. So it may not be a reference to me, but if it is, that's awesome. At least
I take it that way at that point.
Definitely. So they know how passionate I am, and they do. They watched my previous interviews, and they watched a couple of my theory videos. So anything's possible. So let's continue here.
Since we have no idea what we're up against.
Only through pain.
Okay, now we're gonna get to the most awesomest part of the trailer, at least in my eyes. So let's continue.
And reveal himself.
Okay, so now as you can see here, you see what may or may not be Cobra Kai students. Now, the reason I say may or may not is because we know John Kreese flees the United States and is now in Korea. But does that necessarily mean that Kim Do-eun's her dojo in Korea was called Cobra Kai?
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Right? Isn't that a good question? Nobody's really even brought that up because we don't know.
I can't remember because I remember, like in part 3, it talks about Master Kim Sung-young, but it says nothing about, him being the founder of Cobra Kai. I'm pretty sure, that's over in Kreese what they named their dojos, but her dojo probably is not in it, so they could probably just call that Cobra Kai and just use that to enter the tournament. I
would think that when Kreese arrives in Korea that he would like to fight under the Cobra Kai dojo name. But my question still goes back to, was Kim Do-eun's current dojo called Cobra Kai, which is a pretty valid and open question, right? So we don't know. But assuming the show is called Cobra Kai, and for argument's sake, I would assume that's what they would go by, correct? It
also reveals how Kreese was able to get away without getting rearrested. If he just leaves the country, he can just, do whatever. I kind of wondered that when I first seen the original pictures coming. I'm like, how's he not,
I thought of the same thing as you. But do you remember in season 5 when Kim Do-eun arrived in the United States? She had a private jet.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a national airliner. So I think, he made contact with her. Well, she fled the scene at the end of season 5. You don't see her when Terry Silver gets arrested.
No.
So she's gone somewhere. So I'm thinking John Kreese escapes prison, and he makes contact with her, and they somehow go on the private jet and just fly to Korea, because I don't see it any other way.
That private jet, that was Silver's that he purchased for them to come in.
Do you think it was? Like, I don't know if it was.
Because when she gets off the plane, he was like, best of the best for the whatever, and she's like, I didn't come here for money. So that, that was all Silver paying for all that. So I don't see the whole private jet thing, but because I think that was all just Silver money.
Maybe. Yeah, you make a good point too. Yeah, I guess time will tell. Yeah. So let's continue this.
But also, one quick thing on that. If you remember the flashbacks, Kreese was the one more like playful with her and stuff. So they probably had a good relationship at some point.
Absolutely. I agree with you on the flashback scene. Yeah. Yes. I with Master Kim Sung-young, and he gave young Kim Do-eun the wink, and when she knocked over that vase. You're right. So
Yes, Sensei.
Okay, this is where I'm going to stop. Now, I do not see a Cobra Kai logo on this man's karate gi. It has I can't make it out, but it's definitely not it doesn't seem like it's a Cobra Kai.
It looks like a closed fist, but I can't tell.
It does look like a gold fist with like two left and right like ornaments of some sort. I don't know what it is. I can't make it out. It's very hard to tell. If somebody knows, definitely comment down below, but it does not look like Cobra Kai.
The one thing I do like about them adding all them in, you can pretty much tell all of them are going to be legit martial artists. So some of the martial arts I think will look better than maybe in the past.
Yes, I agree with you. And I made a theory video on who I think will win the Sekai Taikai, and we'll get back to that. We'll make some predictions and theories as soon as we finish this trailer. One thing I do want to bring up before we continue is I don't know if maybe it's still too early because we're only, part 1 with 5 episodes. If you notice, you don't see anybody from the Fist in this trailer. What happened to those guys?
From what do you mean?
You remember the Fist that came with Kim Do-eun when she arrived?
Oh, all the other senseis. Yeah.
Yes. I interviewed one of them. You did too, Jake Huang.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a very good. I mean, for all we know, it's just a short trailer. I assume that most of them would come back with her. So yeah,
you can't have the Fist arrive and somehow not be in Korea with her, right? So I'm just throwing that out there that we didn't see them.
If they're not, it'd make no sense because she said they were all from her dojo when she came in. So,
right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Your only way getting around that is if you said someone potentially did get arrested at the house.
I can't see that because technically Johnny, Mike Barnes,
they broke in.
They broke in, and they have video evidence of that as well. So
the only person that killed anyone was Silver. So he didn't kill Chozen, but he
he sliced them up pretty good. Again,
it was in his own home. So
he was breaking an entry. So definitely. All right, very interesting. This is getting pretty good. Good debates here. All right, and a lot of things we want to find out, and I hope season 6 has a lot of final closures. So let's continue here. Okay, I'm gonna stop here now. Everybody's asking, who is this guy? Now I found out his name. His name is.
He's a legit black belt too.
Yes, his name is Brandon H. Lee. He's kind of an up and coming actor.
He's got I think it said he had 60,000 Instagram followers. It's not like he's got some decent numbers when I was looking at it earlier.
Yeah. As you can see here, I brought up the IMDb. It says Brandon H. Lee, who the guy is in that footage, is known for Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings, Our Late Father, and the Elementals. I think he started acting, I believe it was just recently, 2019 or something. So he's up and coming, but he's a real martial artist, which
it seems like he's pretty big into stunt work. So yeah.
Yeah, it says here that actor and stunts, so he does both of them, right?
But I mean, he's got 46,000 Instagram followers, and he's a Taekwondo black belt. So yeah,
there you go. Yeah, and I think this is the new Karate Kid villain.
Yeah, you could definitely see that for sure.
Yes, and I think he's the man to beat at the Sekai Taikai.
For 100%.
So I'll reference him as, since the creators like Rocky, I'll reference him as the Ivan Drago of Cobra Kai Season 6.
There you go.
Not saying he's going to kill anybody like Drago did, but you guys get the point. He's the I must break you type. So.
Yeah.
So let's continue back to this. So we'll continue here. So yes, Brandon H. Lee, this is the new guy. And Kreese seems really fond of him. So let's continue.
It's one thing to be the best in town. It's another to be the best in the world.
Just means
Okay, so here they're pretty much, we got Robby and Miguel here going at it, right? So, and a couple of Cobra Kai students here, and you have...
It's always funny how she just, it seems like recently she's always awkwardly there.
Amanda?
Yeah.
Or, Amanda LaRusso, Daniel's wife. Yeah, she seems to be appearing at a lot of the training sessions.
I guess she's more supportive now, I guess, is why they're doing that, but...
Yeah. If the Sekai Taikai tournament has senseis competing, which I heard a rumor of, and I believe that's what is going to happen in the Sekai Taikai, is that you're going to have the senseis competing as well as the students. Now, Miyagi-Do is still without a female sensei. So that being said, how
if they did do that, that would open that up exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Now, does that not tell you that's how and why Julie Pierce will appear?
If that, I believe she will appear. If that's the case, maybe that would be a good way. But
That's the only way I could see her kind of like making sense.
they've had so many ways of bringing people back, so it's hard to say just one. But that is definitely a possibility.
Yeah, that's definitely one way. Obviously, you know, they can turn it around, make it any way they want.
That's
but
what I'm
like,
saying. There's a lot.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah, just like we saw Jessica Andrews, right, appear
Yeah.
as her cousin, as
Yeah,
Amanda's cousin, right? So, but it's going to be interesting to see like how they bring in a Hilary Swank as Julie Pierce from the next Karate Kid. But this is the way I kind of see her kind of coming in.
That's a good point. Yeah, for sure.
That's if they have a sensei bracket, which I do think they are, and I've seen leaked photos. So I'm assuming that's
anything's
what's going to happen. So here we go.
We'll have to meet Robby again.
You know, this is kind of interesting. Why do we see back here? Okay, you see Johnny coming out of this house. I don't know whose house this may be. It doesn't look like LaRusso's front door. Maybe it's Stingray's.
It's not Johnny's apartment. So it must be like Devin's house or something.
Yeah, and she has a garbage bag.
Yeah,
Of some sort. Like,
what else I find kind of? I guess she's kind of going back under Johnny's wing like she used to be an Eagle fan because you see her with him a lot throughout.
I definitely, yeah. So that's kind of interesting. So
But that's one of those I can't really tell. That's just kind of a
yeah. We're just.
I thought
Yes.
you were Miyagi-Do now.
You think things are better because now I'm training in your dad's backyard.
Okay, there's that. Because I never got to go back to the whole Samantha Tory thing. So obviously Samantha is like, you know, I thought you're Miyagi-Do now, and she's like, just because I'm training in your dad's backyard.
yeah.
So obviously they're still butting heads. You know what I mean? There's no love lost for these two. And what do you think is Tory's relationship now that John Kreese is kind of out of the picture?
She's probably just don't really know who she can and cannot trust, and I think she may just have a lot of trust issues at this point because he kind of turned on her as well. Because
He did.
you know, originally she was doing all that with Silver to help get him out, and then he kind of just changed up on her. So
Yeah. Well, it's going to be, well, he's out of the country now from what we saw. And everybody, there's still that theory of her sick, dying mother. Who's her mother? Who's her father?
I feel it's
You want to elaborate on any of that? Now, there's a rumor that Dutch could be her father. What do you think on that?
see, not everybody's mom and whatever.
That's what I say, yeah.
I think just her dad is a certain guy that left, and then her mom is a certain whoever. You hear her mom in that one season, you can't see the face. But I mean, I'm not gonna get into the whole father's thing, but her dad being in prison, which is Dutch, would make sense because you've never heard anything about him. But I don't see them taking it that way.
Yeah, like that's a, you know, I'm not going to say it's not a possibility. It definitely is a possibility.
They could do it, but I don't see that happening.
Absolutely. You know, okay. Now, Dutch's name has been thrown around a lot. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I would love to see Dutch make some sort of cameo appearance. I think it's, you know, deserved. Absolutely. Now, the only way I see Dutch making a cameo is, I'm going to save that for after this. I'll if I don't forget, so I'll continue.
I interviewed with Scott Hamm, who played in the fight scene, and he said Dutch was in the original script, but Dutch ended up ultimately declining season 2 because he was done with acting, and he's got more money than sense, so I don't really see him coming back.
Yeah,
I don't see that.
Yeah, because there was an interview with Martin Kove a few years back, and they were asking, you know, well, what's going on with Chad McQueen, who plays Dutch? You know, where is he? Does he want to be on Cobra Kai? And Martin Kove simply said on the interview is that him and William Zabka contacted him and said, hey, we got this short little skit for you to come on, blah, blah, blah. You know, Chad McQueen, you know, he denied it because he's happy with what he's doing. He's out of the acting business. He's involved with McQueen Racing, as a lot of people know. He's just into cars and stuff. But if somehow the big three pulled some strings, I don't think it's. I don't think it has anything to do with money. It's definitely not a money issue with Chad McQueen.
He's got plenty of money. That's definitely far from his dad left him well off. I mean,
his dad was famous actor, right? Yeah. So of course he left him. Yeah, he was well off before he was even in the Karate Kid Part 1.
Absolutely.
And but like, I'm not going to say he's not going to make a short appearance. If he does make an appearance, okay, maybe let's just throw a hypothetical theory that he could be Tory's dad. That's just one theory thrown out there. Okay, sure. I have another one that, may or may not, if I can remember at the end of this trailer to bring it up. So let's continue.
I think we have our strongest teeth.
I think they can handle anything.
Bitch, don't you know I know karate?
Okay, Kyler Park. We got to mention him.
He's just
that scene there. It looks like they're at it looks like they're at some college frat house.
Yeah, something like that, like a party or who knows what.
Yeah, because like obviously, I think this is their senior year, so they're obviously graduating. So this could probably be some sort of frat house, and I think I don't see Kyler having a huge role in season 6. I think he's just one of those guys.
It's kind of how it has been, He's there, but it's not.
Yeah, he'll give you those funny outtakes here and there. I think that's as far as we'll go with.
Yeah, for sure.
Kyler, but he's an OG. He's been there since season 1. So
I didn't like when he wasn't in season 2. I was glad when they brought him back.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. He's just one of those guys that are, he's gonna give you some funny moments. And,
he's hilarious.
So we'll go.
What's that?
Miyagi-san buried secrets for a reason. If we open, anything is possible.
How many secrets does
Okay, so we just saw the trailer. Now the mystery box. Everybody's talking about this mystery box. Now, it could be a variety of things. Yeah. It could be another one of those Miyagi techniques, like the dragon technique. Your intake on that?
I don't know. Before we get into that, I saw something funny. It said, he's probably just got a lot of his dirty magazines in there.
I didn't hear that one.
I was like,
yeah. Oh, man. But
I really haven't thought too much into it yet, but it's just one of those things. I feel like a million things are going to get guessed, and it's no one's going to be right.
I know. There was so many things running through my head. I'm going to stay away from that one because it could be a variety of things.
Drive me crazy, yeah.
Yeah, it'll drive you crazy. Hey, but that's what keeps fans in tune. Like, what is in that mystery box, and what is this? You know what I mean? Yeah. So we saw, a secret scroll that Chozen revealed.
Or who knows? Maybe some weird healing technique. Like maybe the secrets to the healing technique. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true, man. So now that we kind of that was just a brief, in a nutshell, breakdown of the trailer. We may have missed a lot of stuff. We're not going to get everything 100%. And I know, I know just as much as you guys tuning in. So let's go back first to, Dutch. I don't want to forget Dutch because I said Dutch. Okay, so Dutch and another name I'm going to bring in is Daryl Vidal. Let me bring in Daryl Vidal here. Okay. So now I think Daryl Vidal will be in season 6. Now the only way I could see Daryl Vidal, well, there's many ways, but one way I see Daryl Vidal and Dutch both making cameos is at Johnny Lawrence's wedding. What do you think?
Those are good. Another one with Vidal is maybe I don't know exactly what descent he was considered in the movies, but he could coach whatever country that is at the Sekai Taikai for all we know.
Because I know Daryl Vidal personally, I know ethnicity. He is from the Philippines.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought he was Philippines. Wasn't 100% sure on that, so I didn't want to mess that up. But,
sure, yeah, you don't want to like offend anybody or anything.
Well, I knew he teaches Filipino stick fighting and stuff. I just didn't know, like in the movie, if it was considered something different. I just don't want to offend. I know he wasn't offended, but anything like that. But
yeah, so that's another possibility of him.
That's far fetched, but I mean,
yeah, we've talked about this Daryl Vidal issue for since Cobra Kai came out. I know me and you are huge Daryl Vidal advocates, and you know we love Daryl Vidal. We want to see him in Cobra Kai, and he deserves to be in Cobra Kai more than anybody else. And as you said, they brought the Bell Tower girl in, so
I'm not gonna get too in depth on it, but they brought in way less.
Yes,
because his role's beyond just what we've seen on the screen as well.
Absolutely. Yes, he's done so much for the Karate Kid franchise.
No Karate Kid without him. I don't care what whoever says.
Yeah. Absolutely, the creator of the crane kick. He was specifically brought in to train a lot of the actors that were in the first Karate Kid movie. I believe he's a 12th degree black belt grandmaster.
It's a crap.
He's an extremely high level martial artist.
Anybody watching that video of him knocking that dude out is just crazy.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite videos. And so there's a possibility. There's ways of bringing Daryl Vidal, just like we mentioned, Johnny Lawrence's wedding, because
that's good. I haven't thought about that, but that is definitely a
yes. And because if you think about it, let's go back to 1981. Daryl Vidal was the 1981 champion, which I believe he beat Johnny Lawrence in the finals of 81. I think
he was, and another thing about him is they mentioned him. He was in the very first episode in the flashbacks. Mm-hmm. Tommy, mentioned him. Mm-hmm. Johnny mentioned Tommy beating him, which I'll be real, Tommy never beats Vidal. But if they want to put that in there, that's fine.
Absolutely not. No, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
no way.
In my opinion, I appreciate the shout out to him, but that never happened. And then in season 3, in Juvie, Kreese talks about Johnny beating Vidal, or not Vidal, but how he had a close fight with him. I think in his first All Valley or something. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's 3 mentioned pretty much. I mean, if you're not getting, that's just kind of an insult. I feel like if you mention them all that and then don't give them that opportunity.
Absolutely. Daryl Vidal being on Cobra Kai is way long overdue, and I hope and expect him to be in season 6.
They even put the Locust Valley Karate Club and didn't put him in the last All Valley, and that kind of ticked me off, honestly.
That honestly ticked me off as well. I don't know what whoever was in charge of that whole.
I'm like, if you're gonna just put him in, you could put him in for one scene, just even to the side. He ain't even got to say anything. Just
yes. Last option of bringing Daryl Vidal is he could pass as a Mr. Miyagi flashback scene.
That's 100%. Me and him we've talked about this. I think even in our interview we talked about it.
Yes,
he really looks like
he does. He really does now. Yes, he does.
Even when they did that flashback scene of Miyagi from behind, just with his head, you could do that with him just fine, and you'd be able to for sure.
Absolutely. I think you're probably referring to that fishing scene where the guy was.
No, I know what you're talking about on that one. The one I'm talking about is it's when Cobra Kai comes in and destroys and spray paints everything. And
okay. Now I remember what you're saying. Yeah.
Cut to Miyagi finishing up and just looking at her and stuff. So
yeah. So those are all possibilities of bringing a Daryl.
I don't care what the possibility is. They need to do it.
He needs to be there regardless. Yeah. He's got to make an appearance. And I have strong evidence. Check one of my theory videos on that he will be in season 6. One of the actors kind of spilled the beans on that, and I capitalized. And get this, Levi, you know what happened after I put that video? He deleted all his postings after I made that video.
Oh, yeah. Not that. See, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
share it.
I'm not gonna mention name, but yeah,
This is
just
one
watch my theory video on that. So
It's when Mike Barnes was going to come back, and I kind of thought he would. One of the actors literally took a selfie with him and said, "Man, it was great to see Sean Kanan on set today." And I'm like,
oh yeah, it's hilarious.
I'm like, somebody's getting in trouble for that.
Yeah. So Dutch and Daryl Vidal, we added both of them in there. Those are ways that they could be brought in. Daryl Vidal as Mr. Miyagi flashback scene, as Sekai Taikai Sensei for Philippines, since he is
That could
originally.
be another hour video on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the people come in, come back, all that.
Yeah, and the list goes on. And for Dutch, it could be Tory's father, and he could be at Johnny's wedding. And
for always.
yeah, so those are the kind of like theories I kind of have on that. And we'll get back to Julie Pierce. As we said, I see her making an appearance as a female sensei.
To me, it's the only way she doesn't appear is also like a Dutch way. She did have a kid, and she's also the actor or actress.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so the only way she doesn't come back is if she just doesn't want to.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. She could just appear or not appear. She could have a little cameo. Like, we don't know. We don't know anything.
If she come back, I think it'll be something small though, because I don't think she would want to do anything
yeah, like, she hasn't been in the picture, and from season 1 to 5, and if she all of a sudden comes in season 6 and kind of like takes over, star of the show and stuff, it just kind of doesn't make sense, right? Because this is really Johnny's story.
What's another one of these things? I mean, Next Karate Kid, say what you want about it, but she's winning one Academy Award. She's done. I mean, the Next Karate Kid's far in the rear view for her, so she's done way greater things.
Yeah, she's had a successful career compared to, no disrespect to anybody on set of Cobra Kai, but she's just been way more successful than anybody.
I'd love to see her back, but she doesn't need, this cameo.
No, she doesn't need it, but there's some fans that would love to see her, and there's some fans that wouldn't like to see her. So,
as long as it ain't, Jackie Chan or any of the
or Jaden Smith, Jesus,
that's what.
Yeah, that would just totally ruin it. And so like we covered Dutch, Mike Barnes, Daryl Vidal, Julie Pierce. Is there anybody else that you want to elaborate on, or?
They weren't the biggest characters, but I'd love to. I don't think Snake will return because the actor. I don't know if anyone can really get in contact with him anymore. But I'd like to see Snake and Dennis come back in some small role if possible. I don't know if it'll happen, but I'd love to see those two return.
Snake, highly unlikely. I would say 0 chance. Dennis I made a video on that, is most likely going to appear in season 6.
He's another one of these, he's like Daryl. He's legit. He's a black belt, has a, dojo.
Yeah. And they train with each other too.
Yeah, him and Mike Barnes, or him and Sean Kanan, good friends. So
yeah, all 3 of them actually. Daryl Vidal,
got
Christopher Ford, and Sean Kanan. Yeah.
And I think they, it just depends on what the big 3 wants to do. But this season, I feel like they're going to just try to bring back as many as they can.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're gonna go out with a bang, as they say in season 6, and I'm sure they want to make everybody happy, and you can't make everybody happy realistically, but I'm sure they're going to try and bring back as many the characters that we just mentioned today back.
I wouldn't mind seeing some of the Next Karate Kid characters return, but it just doesn't really make much sense because that's based out of Boston, not California, so I don't really know.
Well, that's my issue with Julie Pierce as well.
Daniel had to have known her because that was Miyagi's other
the funeral for sure. Well, they may have
it could have been before that, because I'm sure him and Daniel still would have talked on the phone, so he's probably I'm down here in Boston helping train. So they knew of each other, but she's really the only one that because Michael Ironside and some of the other ones just doesn't really make sense to come back.
No, I can't see him really making an appearance or anything like that.
We'll see Ned, some of the other guys come back. It just really doesn't fit
Ned Randall, I can't see coming back.
It just doesn't fit the story. Unless they really, the only way you could bring him back is if you just kind of had him there and you know who he is, but it's not like, unless him and Julie like magically like made up and got together. That's really the only way.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what's funny is hypothetically, let's say Julie Pierce comes back, right? You would obviously expect her to be married with kids, or she could well be single, kind of like Allie is now, right?
Well, could have been like Mr. Miyagi. You know, Mr. Miyagi, his wife passed. He never remarried as well.
True. If Julie Pierce does come back, I do see Eric McGowan, her so-called boyfriend, coming back. And on top of that, he is actually a martial artist himself these days.
Yeah.
So I could see those two actually being happily married. And if she comes back, I see him coming back in the picture as well.
Anything's possible.
Yeah. Because, you know, I'm just thinking like, okay, what's Julie Pierce been up to all these years? So, you know, obviously you would think married with kids, blah, blah, blah. And I think if she comes back, Eric McGowan is in the picture as well.
Yeah, that definitely, because they really never had, like, for our knowledge, they would still be together. But, you know, that was also when they were in high school. So for all we know, who knows what could happen.
Yeah, because in the next Karate Kid, correct me if I'm wrong, he wanted to be in the Air Force, was it? Or
to go to like the Air Force Academy or
something like that. Yeah.
And that's the only reason he was in like that. I don't even know what that was. If like a JROTC police.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I can't remember.
Deal.
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it probably in the last year or two, but it's just one of those. Their group isn't really like established exactly what it is. It's like a very base like hall monitor deal, so I'm not sure.
Right. So
you know, it gets a lot of hate. I'm not gonna. But to me, it's the fourth best one for sure. But it does have some decent moments in it.
Yeah, well, I think because you know what I mean. Well, yeah, right. Daniel LaRusso's not in it, right? And it's just Mr. Miyagi, and you have this this new up and coming actress that's in it, Hilary Swank, right? That's where she made her mark in the next Karate Kid. It's funny because that movie came out in 1994, right? And it had a budget of 12 million, and in the box office it hit only 15, so it didn't obviously do so good, right? It's not everybody's.
It was 10 years after the original, and it was also 89 was part 3, so it was like what 4 or 5 years after part. So the one reason I try to support it is because, you know, Pat Morita was really battling a lot of health issues at that time. So for him to still try to give the fans one last glimpse of Miyagi, I try to really respect.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, Daniel and Julie Pierce somehow connect. Like
I said, if she doesn't come back, that's on her terms.
Yeah. But saying the Sekai Taikai does have a sensei bracket, Miyagi Do does need a female sensei, and they currently don't have one. So you got to think of that one.
Yeah.
And it's obviously not going to be Amanda. Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I've seen some stuff about there potentially being that. To me, I feel like that would already been established, you know?
Yeah, because you would Kim Do-eun would be like for Cobra Kai, obviously. So they're pretty much settled. And all these other nations that will be represented and will have their own like male and female senseis. When
those people came in to evaluate, you know, students, they would have evaluated the teachers, I feel, if there was
correct.
But however they want to write it, but
kind
of just like
right. So before we finish, let's last topic here before we end this episode is, who do you think will win the Sekai Taikai?
So I'll give you two people I think can win. I'll also give you a dark horse.
Sure. Oh, this is good.
So the two people I think could win is Robby or the new character from Kreese's dojo that's coming in. Those two.
Yes.
Because I feel Robby's kind of due a win because Hawk and Miguel already both won. But a dark horse I could see winning that this might sound a little crazy.
Sure, go for it.
They might give it to Dimitri because they're trying to – it seems like they're trying to build him a little bit. I'm not saying that's just kind of like a dark horse. It maybe like if
100%
would happen or –
Well, it's just like any sport, whether it's soccer, or hockey, or basketball. You always root for the underdog. Well, the Karate Kid Part 1 was based on an underdog, right?
Right.
So that's what you said about Dimitri. I never really thought of that, but that's
I thought about it as you were kind of saying the about he's getting showed more, and it's like, well, I mean, I don't, but I think he might get a little further, like he did in All Valley. He might make it a little further than we thought.
Sure. Yeah, kind of like how we didn't see Hawk winning against Robby, right?
Right.
At the All Valley there. And okay. Robby winning the Sekai Taikai would make all the sense in the world, right? He's due for a win. This is what everybody and anybody says.
It'll happen.
Right. But here's my issue with that. I 100% agree on that. I'm definitely not disagreeing with it. But if Robby wins, don't you think that's a little too predictable?
Well, here's another thing. If he wins, right? How does it – because like Sam was talking about, like this isn't a local tournament anymore. Like you get second at the local tournament twice, but you win the world's biggest tournament. I mean, look, it's a show at the end of the day. But
sure, it's entertainment.
But it's like that'd be kind of crazy, It's like that's like winning the Super Bowl, but not winning your own division.
It's he makes the finals, he loses to Miguel.
Yeah.
Makes the semis against Hawk, loses to Hawk.
No, he
final. Sorry, I'm sorry.
He had Hawk all but finished till he got distracted. He really should have won that.
Yeah. If you ask me, like who I think is the better fighter, all around fighter is definitely Robby, despite Miguel and Hawk winning the All Valleys.
Well, you got to remember Robby was injured.
And yep, he was against.
He had clouded judgment a little bit. So.
Yeah. Now, like sure, it'll make everybody happy. You know what I mean? Robby winning because he's due for a win, and he hasn't. He the two All Valleys that he was in, he didn't win them. Now, that would make sense, but if you're thinking outside the box like I do, let's think as creators, as writers for a second now. Okay. Now, wouldn't you want not even Cobra Kai nor Miyagi-Do to win and have a future spinoff? Because that would lead to more drama.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I've said before, it's one of these things. It could be any of these, or they could just, since it's such a big tournament, it could just be a random guy that wins for all that we know. Yeah.
Okay. I know it's just a TV show, right? At the end of the day. And, obviously this is not real life, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
Some people think it is, though.
You're right. See, it goes back to what I said. I'm thinking outside the box here, because if the creators of the show, John, Josh, and Hayden, want a future spinoff, I have no idea what it will be or what they're thinking. When I interviewed them, they said they could very well go back to the students and continue with them in the near future. So that's where I'm kind of looking at. See, if Robby wins, Johnny gets married, happy ending, everybody goes home, and that's it. So you left the show a happy ending, but really no drama or no conflicts for the future. So that's where I'm looking at.
Here's another one. It's because they did that Karate Kid movie, so I'm wondering, they made it. It's like, are they going to try to tie in maybe the ending of this to that? It's like, that because they casted that, I think, some sort of star. I don't know, whoever for that movie with Ralph. So maybe they're going to do something with that. I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah, nobody.
I have no clue how that movie's going to work out either. Because the writer. Big Three's not on that movie, so I don't know how great that's really going to be. I mean, I hope it's good. I'll watch it, but
I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll definitely watch it. But nobody knows if they're connected or if they're not. We know Daniel LaRusso will be in it, so obviously he'll represent you know, the whole Miyagi verse still. And but going back to, oh, and by the way, John, Josh, and Hayden said that they have no ties to that movie.
That's what concerns me. Yeah.
That's what they say. Like, let's take it with a grain of salt. We don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but going back to the Sekai Taikai, who will win? You know, you got this Miyagi dojo entering this world tournament with the best fighters from around the world. And obviously they're going to have their few, maybe weeks, if months of training. I don't know, before they go to the Sekai Taikai. Like, you're talking about fighters from around the world with hardcore training who've been in this tournament before, knows about this tournament, compared to these local, you know, dojo that's only fought in regional tournaments.
And high level people like Barnes, you know, to help them, you know.
But is that enough? Is what I'm, you know what I mean?
It's TV at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with my prediction now. Now people might not like it. I'm gonna say, well, seeing the fighters from in Korea, see those are my type of fighters, and those are the fighters I see winning. So maybe Cobra Kai, but as my dark horse, I say nobody. But realistically, I'd say John Kreese and Kim Do's students would probably wipe the floor with everybody.
I think it'll be evenly based just because it's TV. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know I gave two answers, saying not Miyagi-Do or Cobra Kai, but that's the two ways. And like I said, I'm thinking as a writer and for future spinoffs. Right?
Me, I feel like my predictions as each part comes out will change.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, when we watch the first 5 episodes, maybe we'll have a different intake, right? So
things we have 2 minutes of footage, but no real footage on how any of that's gonna go. So
yeah, it'll be interesting, man. But Levi, I want to thank you for coming on. It's always fun doing these breakdowns and theories. I know we haven't done this in a while, and for people tuning in, you know, everybody, you know, this is. You know, we're not saying we're right or wrong. This is all for fun at the end of the day. Hey, we have our personal favorites just like you guys have your personal favorites. I'm cheering for Mike Barnes because Mike Barnes is my guy. And I hope there's a plot twist with Mike Barnes still. I don't want to see him in Miyagi though, but if I have to, I'll still support him regardless. And yeah, guys, throw your theories and comments down below. I'd like to hear everybody's theories. Who you think will win the Sekai Taikai? Will Julie Pierce appear? Will Dutch appear? Will Daryl Vidal appear? Dennis appear? There's so much going on in season 6. At the end of the day, don't forget to tune in July 18th, all 5 episodes streaming on Netflix. And Levi, once again, thank you for coming on. And if you could tell the audience where we can follow you and contact you on.
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube and Instagram, just Karate Kid Fanatics. Yeah, so.
Okay, and I will provide the links down below, so go check out Levi and Karate Kid Fanatics, and we will have more theories and prediction videos for you guys in the near future. I always love doing these. These are, you know, fun, and maybe we'll get like a few fans and we'll all have a big debate and stuff like that. And we'll just like throw ideas at each other. We'll do something fun for you guys. So sky's the limit. So once again, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and that is it for tonight. Peace.